What's the hype about a 2-1 buy down? What happens is that a certain percentage is paid up front and at closing. And so you can either do what's called a 2-1 buy down or a 1-1 buy down. 1-1 buy down is where the rate is for 1 year, 1% lower than the starting rate that you qualify with. The 2-1 buy down is the first year, it's 2% lower than your qualifying rate. So if you're at a 6.25, your first year rate is going to be a 4.25 for the whole 12 months. And then the second year, it's going to be 5.25, 5.25. And then finally, with the third and final rate that'll last you your entire term of your mortgage, you'll be at the 6.25. So that is what a 2-1, 1-1 buy down is. So the cost of a buy down, if we're going to use a percentage, is about 2.6% of the loan amount. That cost can be paid by anyone in the transaction, such as like the seller, the buyer, the realtor, the lender. I have a lot of realtors that I work with that are willing to contribute something towards their buyer's purchase, especially in the slower markets. We are always trying to make deals happen and make it happen for our borrowers. As a matter of fact, we have a Christmas special right now, or holiday special, where we can pay up to 1.5% of a buyer's closing cost if they're buying like a new build. And so that 1.5% can go towards the buy down. So 2.6% total, usually in points. And with that, your first year, like we mentioned, is going to be 2% lower, and then your second year will be 1% lower. So there's different sets of characters that can pay for the buy down. It's just, being creative and working out a great deal to make it work for everyone involved and get the transaction closed and funded. The benefits of the buy down is that your first year rate is going to be 2%, 1 to 2% lower. So that means that your monthly payment is going to be lower for that first 12 months. The second year, if you do a 2-1 buy down, will be even lower than the third year, which is going to be the final rate. So all in all, you're going to be looking at a lower monthly payment for the first couple of years. And while the market cools down, while we're waiting on rates to go down, once rates go down, then you go ahead and refinance into a lower rate if one's available at that time. But it gives a lot of flexibility, and it helps people feel more comfortable with the mortgage payments and the mortgage rates the way they are these days. This program is popular right now for a lot of reasons, because it's been around forever. It's always been something in our arsenal of programs that we have available for our buyers. I've actually used them in the past. I use them here at Thrive and with some builders that I've worked with. And so, the 2-1 buy down is just a popular program just because of the whole thing with going on with rates. Rates have gone up. It scares people when rates go up and payments are going up. And so a lot of lenders are digging into their 2-1 buy down program and using that to help their buyers and their sellers, move into properties and move those properties so that people are comfortable with the program, comfortable with the monthly payment, and just comfortable with buying a house right now. If a seller, let's say a seller is selling a house for $430,000, right? And they take 2.6% of that and they lower, the sales price by $10,000, $12,000, $13,000, whatever. If a buyer says, no, go ahead and leave the sales price the way it is at $430,000, I would like assistance with the cost of the 2-1 buy down. If you lower the sales price by $12,000 or $13,000 and you look at the monthly payment, it's going to be based on today's rate, whatever qualifying rate that they're at. And so if you do that, and then you look at a 2-1 buy down on the original sales price for the property, you're going to find that the monthly payment is lower than it would be if the sales price was lowered. 100%, the rate being lower is going to be the way to go, And then it also, your seller is moving the property, he's selling the property, it's funding, buyers are happy, buyers' payments are lower than they would be if the purchase price was lowered. So all around, it's a good deal for everyone involved.